गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. ओम ओम नारायण. Abba, I'll just say something, whatever I can at the moment. Okay, I just say whatever I can say now and proceed. I will not be able to discuss the present topic we have Swamiji has raised here, because there is a Shani. If you believe Indian astrology, there is a Shani going on. It doesn't allow me to study. Each time I take a time, I allot a time to read this portion in advance, to prepare the talk. This is a Purva Paksha from Vivarana. Swamiji quotes that and refutes it. What Vivaranakara says is very difficult to understand. Very difficult to understand. Abba. So, since it is a very unusual, strange argument, as we have been discussing in the last few classes, more than 1 month passed, I am not able to proceed, because that is the Talibani interfering in my mind, in my life. We have asuras in my life. Each time I take an appointment, I allot a time, this 1 hour I will refer this. Something comes and disturbs me, doesn't allow me to refer. So I have again come directly without referring before. So I will just skip the portion and proceed. I am helpless. So whenever this asura permits me, asura means my life, my astrology. Whenever it permits me, I will speak. Otherwise, the topic which we have touched incomplete, I'll leave it incomplete and go ahead. Okay? But now what am I to do then? Because 1 month passed, more than 1 month, it has been nuisance for me. You can't do anything. Only second point alone I shall answer and proceed. Chaitanya Atma in Adhyasa. In Adhyasa, Chaitanya, see, a strange argument has to be contemplated before I come and speak here. There is a problem. Wait. Every day people say there is no voice, there is no noise. And these cell phones, I don't know what to do. I think they have created these cell phones only to create a problem. You want to listen, but I cannot handle these cell phones. Every day is a problem with the cell phones. Oh. Okay. Nacha achetanasya samsrushtatayaiva adhyasastatra. In Adhyasa, 2 points he says. One is Samanya Vishesha, Adhishtana, Adhyasta. Okay? Adhishtana and Adhyasta. There is a Samanya Vishesha Bhava. That means Adhishtana is perceived means experienced. In any Adhyasa, Purva Pakshi says, Adhishtana is experienced, means it comes to our understanding in a general way, not in a specific way, in a striking way. Whereas Adhyasta comes in a striking way. Okay, Adhyasta is experienced in a striking way. Adhishtana comes to our understanding in a very vaguely or vaguely or in a superficially, not very clearly. Okay, this is the stand Purva Pakshi takes. Okay, this is the stand. Who's Purva Pakshi? Vivaranakara. He is an Advaitin only. But what can we do? That is his stand. Second point is Chaitanya Atma. When it is superimposed upon the Atma, Chaitanyam is not superimposed upon Anatma, but only its when Chaitanya Atma is superimposed upon the Anatma, it is not superimposed directly or wholly, but only its connection with Anatma is superimposed. That means in Adhyasa Bhashya, Bhashyakara says Atma Anatmanoho mutual Adhyasa. Atma Anatma, there is a mutual Adhyasa. In this mutual Adhyasa, this Vivaranakara explains different from Shankara. Shankaracharya is telling uncompromisingly direct Adhyasa. Atma upon the Anatma, Anatma upon the Atma. That means Atma, Anatma, they get mixed up in such a way that they look as one. Atma is experienced as Anatma, Anatma is experienced as Atma. Here, this mutual mixing up is complete. But Vivaranakara, taking such a very strange stand, says that one is Samanya Vishesha Bhava, this is one point he touches. Second is Samsrishtatayaiva. Nacha Visheshavabhasad Adhishtanatva Virodha. 3 points he is touching. Abba. So he says Samsarga. Third is Nacha Vishesha Abhabhasad Adhishtanatva Virodha. Adhishtana Dharmataya Visheshasya Apratitehe Adhishtandana. All the three are, these are very unusual arguments. I have to contemplate. As I told you, there is no time. There is a being, disturbance. There is only disturbance and no reading at all. Okay. So I will proceed. As I told you, I won't explain. We'll proceed. Otherwise, I have to cancel. Another alternative is cancel the talk. Cancel. So I have done number of cancels. Only simply due to unable to prepare. Okay. Now we will skip and proceed. When I have time, when this disturbance won't be there, I shall prepare and tell you some other day. Okay. Nacha chetanasya samsrishtatayaiva. Swamiji's reply, I tell you. Nacha 1, 2, 3. Samanya vishesha bhasadvayetvam pratnasti vedantinaya. Ade sarvasyapi sakshitva abhyapamata nacha kalpita samanya vishesha bhavam adayaiva. Tivacham. Next point. Ayya. Adhyasatvat. Okay. I think the whole Purvapaksha I will skip. Nothing can be done. I think I'll skip the whole page. It's irritating to me. But what can I do? Okay, we'll proceed with the next page. 94th page. Yadyapi, you may feel that I have left the topic in between, but I am helpless. Otherwise, there will be cancelling. No class will run. Next paksha is Yadapyashankyate. Regarding Adhyasa, there is another objection. This objection is by Ramanuja. Earlier objection was of Vivaranas. I will explain later. Okay. Now is Ramanuja. Yadapyashankyate kaischit साक्षित्वं नाम साक्षात् ज्ञातृत्वमेव न हि अजानतः साक्षित्वमस्ति। ज्ञातैव लोकवेदयोः साक्षीति व्यपदिश्यते स्मरति च भगवान् पाणिनिः साक्षात् द्रष्टरिसंज्ञायाम् इति साक्षात् ज्ञातर्येव साक्षिशब्दं ज्ञातर्येव न साक्षात् ज्ञातर्येव एव साक्षिशब्दं तस्मात् साक्षित्वादेवस्य ज्ञातृत्वं सेत्स्यति इति अहमर्थः एव आत्मा परमार्थतः। अतस्तस्य अध्यस्तत्वं न युक्तमिति। अब्बा ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, this is another argument. It is an interesting argument. Ramanujacharya says regarding Sakshi, Acharya Shankara said Sakshitvam is superimposed upon the Anatma. Anatma means Aham Pratyaya onwards. Right from the I notion, the mind, the thoughts, mind means the thoughts, emotions, sense organs, body and the world. Objects, body means the objects, time, place and object. So Anatma is right from the I notion up to the world. World means objects of sense organs. In between, what are all things occur? Let me say, repeat. I notion, the mind. Mind means intellect as well as mind. Intellect means thoughts. Mind is emotions. Then sense organs. Then the body. Then the time and place. Then the external objects. That means entire world. What is Anatma? The entire world is Anatma. Entire state, waking state is Anatma. This is a strange thing, you remember, because Vyakhyanakaras don't say that. In Vyakhyanakaras, they have a very peculiar thing. They take Anatma Adhyasa means up to body only. That's why I am referring to this specifically. The post-Shankarites, Vyakhyanakaras say, Anatma that is superimposed upon Atma, they take from I notion, intellect, mind, sense organs, body. Up to this alone. World is not Adhyasa. According to whom? According to Vyakhyanakaras. But Shankaras, if you look at directly Bhashya, entire world is Adhyasa. Pramana Prameya Vyavahara. Even Prameya is Adhyasa, Shankaracharya is clearly telling. Adhyasam Puraskritya Sarve Pramana Prameya Vyavaharaha. So he includes the time, place and entire world is within Adhyasa. Okay? Is Anatma. This is the difference you have to see from the Shankara standpoint and the post-Shankarites. Swamiji follows just Shankaras, therefore he says world is also Anatma that is superimposed upon the Atma. Okay. Now Atma, what is the Atma that is superimposed upon the Anatma? Sakshi is the Atma. Sakshi is superimposed upon the Anatma. Anatma means right from the I thought, I notion up to the world. This entire world is superimposed upon the Sakshi and Sakshi is superimposed upon the entire Anatma. This is Atmanatmanor Adhyasa. Sakshi is superimposed upon the entire world, entire avastha, or in other words, like in Mandukya Prakriya, Sakshi means the consciousness, wakefulness, the waking consciousness. Waking consciousness is superimposed upon the waking state. The entire state is superimposed upon the waking consciousness. This makes it very clear. Okay, the entire waking state, which includes the entire world. The entire world is superimposed upon the wakeful consciousness, and the wakeful consciousness is superimposed upon the waking state. Therefore, we see waking state, that is waking consciousness, and waking state look as one unit, isn't it? Now, by Viveka, what we have to do? We have to separate the consciousness from the state. State is mithya, consciousness is satyam. This is what we have to do. But in our anubhava now, the consciousness, which is the sakshi, or which is the whole wakeful consciousness, is superimposed upon the entire waking state. The entire waking state means entire waking world. Entire waking world is superimposed upon the consciousness. This is Shankara's stand. So, one Vivarana's argument we skipped. Now coming to the Ramanujacharya's argument, this is also very interesting. What he says is, Sakshi means he has got a very peculiar idea. What we say is, the entire wakeful consciousness is Sakshi, or the Sushupti Atma. What we say, the Sushupti Atma. The entire consciousness is Sakshi, and the entire state is Anatma. But what Ramanujacharya says is, Pramatrutvam itself is Sakshi. See, this is a very peculiar thing. The Sakshitvam which Vedanta says, nobody has understood except Vedanta. All other people, Ramanuja, Madhva, Nimbarka, Vallabha, etc., all of them, they have understood Pramatrutvam alone is Sakshi. They have no Sakshitvam apart from, independent of Pramatrutvam. Very strange thing. They think Pramatrutvam itself is Sakshi, Pramata himself is Sakshi. Pramata is the one who is identified with the mind and sense organs. Who is Pramata? Pramata is identified with the mind and sense organs. And that Pramata is the Sakshi who is aware of the entire waking state. Now, let us watch. Is there no difference? They are unable to see the difference. The entire waking state is known to the Sakshi. Sakshi is not a part of the state. Sakshi is independent of the state. Sakshi means the consciousness. The entire wakeful consciousness is not a part of the waking world. Entire wakeful consciousness is not part of the waking world. Waking world is imposed upon the consciousness. Therefore, the consciousness is independent of the waking state. Okay? The consciousness is independent of the waking state, but in Adhyasa, the waking state and consciousness look as interconnected. This is Vedantin's view. What Ramanujacharya says is, the consciousness which is in association with the mind, or which is reflected in the mind, either way you can say. Either it is reflected in the mind, or it is associated with the mind, or it is an upadhi of the mind. That is, in short, the mind consciousness. He says the mind consciousness, or in other word, Jnatrutvam, the knowerhood, the subject, the knowerhood, one who knows. One who knows, Pramatru, is in association with the mind and sense organs. He says that consciousness which is associated with the mind and sense organs becomes an individual subject, individual knower. That is Sakshi, Ramanujacharya says. I was shocked. Vedantin's Sakshi is independent. It is entire consciousness. It is not associated with the mind. The entire Sakshi is not associated with the mind. But the Pramatru, the subject or knower, all the mean same. All these three words, Pramata, either call Pramata or Jnata or subject, or the consciousness associated with the mind. All these mean the same thing. The consciousness which is associated with the mind and sense organs becomes an individual consciousness. It becomes a subject, because subject is related to object. my consciousness associated with the mind becomes an individual consciousness. It becomes a jnata or pramata. Because pramata jnata means he is in association with the mind and sense organs. Therefore, this pramata or jnata is called Sakshi by Ramanujacharya. Strange thing. That means Sakshi is always associated with the world. Sakshi is always associated with the mind and the sense organs and the world. It is always in association with the mind and sense organs. But you see your Anubhava, your whole entire wakeful consciousness. Do you see the entire wakeful consciousness is connected with the waking mind? Or waking mind is only imposed upon the wakeful consciousness, or the wakeful consciousness is detached from the waking mind and sense organs? Entire wakeful consciousness, see, entire waking consciousness is entire waking consciousness independent of the waking mind, or it is connected to the waking mind? Invariably connected with the waking mind. Is it invariably connected with the waking mind, or it is independent of the waking mind? It entirely knows the entire waking state. Therefore, it is not stuck with the waking. It is not stuck with the waking world or waking avastha, waking state. So the consciousness which illumines, the consciousness which knows the entire waking state, doesn't form the part of the waking state. Waking state is known in the wakeful consciousness, but wakeful consciousness is independent of the waking state. It doesn't form the part of the waking state, because when the entire waking state is erased, like in dream state, the consciousness like a film screen. Sakshi is like a film screen. On the film screen, you can see the entire world. The film is like waking state. Film screen is like a Sakshi. Okay, I repeat. The entire film is like waking state. The film screen is like Sakshi. Film screen doesn't form the part of the film. Okay, note this is an important thing. Film screen doesn't form part of the film. Film is only seen, imposed upon the screen, but the screen remains untouched by the film. Okay, the screen remains untouched by the film. Film is imposed upon the screen remains untouched by the film. Therefore, the screen of the film, the screen can be compared with the Sakshi, and the film can be compared with the waking state. Therefore, Sakshi and waking state are very clearly distinguished. Sakshi is changeless, but the state undergoes change. State undergoes two kinds of change. One is the objects within the state. Okay, objects within the state undergo changes. State as a whole also changes. Two levels of change. One is objects within the state undergo changes. That is, everybody knows. The objects within the world, because the time runs, time moves on. As the time moves on, our life keeps on changing. Many objects in the world keep changing. The entire world may not change, but a few objects in the world keep changing. Okay. So, the objects within the waking state keep changing. Another change is the entire state itself changes. You may ask, how does the state as a whole change? Because the entire state changing means it is replaced by dream. That is the thing. Entire waking state itself changes. Oh, surprised? I can understand this question people may ask. We can understand the objects within the waking state change. But waking state as a state changes. The waking world, yes, waking world changes. The entire waking world. How? The waking world, two ways it changes. entire waking world is replaced by dream world. That means entire waking world is erased. The entire waking world is replaced. Like in the film screen, one film you are projecting and watching, the film stops or film concludes, you can project another film upon it. Okay. One film was running, playing, and that film comes to an end, another film you can project on it. That means one film is replaced by another film. Another film comes to replace the previous film. But the screen remains the same. Similarly, Sakshi remains the same. Entire waking state is replaced by dream state. This is one way of changing the entire state. As I told you, change is two levels. One is within the state, objects change. Another is the entire state itself changes. Okay. How? The entire state is replaced by dream. Second change is there is no replacement. All the states are erased, screen alone remains. Okay. Two ways you can change. One is one film is replaced by another film. Another is no playing of the film, only screen remains, like in deep sleep. In deep sleep, screen alone, Sakshi alone remains without neither waking nor dream. Without both, neither earlier state nor the replacing state. Waking is replaced by dream and dream is replaced by waking. One state is replaced by one state replaces the other. So here, when the state is replaced by other, there is a change. Change of what? Change of the very state. State is erased and replaced by another state. And dream is erased and replaced by waking. Waking is replaced by, but the common basis is screen. Sakshi is the common basis for both. Okay. This is one way of the world disappearing, getting erased. The entire state is changing. Second is neither waking nor dream. Both of them disappear into my real nature, that is Sakshi or deep sleep. Sakshi or deep sleep is independent. There is no state, neither waking nor dream. Both of them disappear into me or get erased in me. I alone remain. Okay, two ways. One film is replaced by another film. Another way is no playing of any film, only screen alone remains. Similarly, Sakshi alone remains. Sakshi is the consciousness which illumines, which is aware of the entire waking state. State goes away, the awareness remains. The awareness remains. The same awareness starts witnessing dream. The awareness which has witnessed the entire waking state, I repeat, the consciousness or the awareness which witnessed the entire waking state remains intact in dream. Only the waking state is replaced by dream state. But the waking witness remains the waking witness is called as dream witness. Witness doesn't undergo any change. Okay, witness doesn't undergo any change. One who is called the waking witness, the same witness is called by another name, dream witness, but witness remains same. It is the state that gets replaced. Waking gets replaced by dream, dream gets replaced by waking. But underlying one Sakshi, common to both, remains untouched. Like the screen, one film is replaced by another film, and that film is replaced by another film, but the underlying screen remains common to both, unaffected, unchanging. Unchanging, unaffected. Similarly, Sakshi is neither affected by waking and dream states, It is untouched by waking state and dream state, but it is the common basis for both. It is common and basis for both. It is common to both. There are no two Sakshis. Sakshi doesn't have two states. Sakshi doesn't have waking state and dream state. Sakshi doesn't have previous and later, because that idea of previous and later involves time. Sakshi doesn't move in time. Sakshi doesn't take in time. Sakshi doesn't flow. Sakshi illumines without being a flow. Sakshi is not a series. It is not a process. Sakshi is not a series. Sakshi is not a flow. Sakshi is one consciousness. Okay. Sakshi is not a flow like a river. Sakshi is not like a river. Is not a flow. Sakshi is timeless. It is the time that flows. It is the time that goes on. Sakshi is a Sakshi of time also. Sakshi is a Sakshi of time also. Sakshi is a Sakshi of entire waking state. Sakshi is a Sakshi of entire dream state. See this. Sakshi is a Sakshi of entire waking state. Sakshi is a Sakshi of entire dream state. Sakshi is a Sakshi of both the states. Waking replacing dream, dream replacing waking, they're both the states, it is simultaneously Sakshi. Okay. Therefore, Sakshi is not a flow like water, like a river. Waking replaces dream, dream replaces waking. But Sakshi doesn't change, he remains common to both. He is one and the same, changeless, common to both. So this idea of both, idea of two doesn't touch Sakshi. Because one state changing to another, the change doesn't touch Sakshi. The state doesn't, neither the state touches Sakshi, nor the number two touches Sakshi, nor the change touches Sakshi. Sakshi remains just Sakshi. Neither one state nor replaced by another state. Okay? Neither one state nor replaced by another state. So Sakshi standpoint, whether it is waking or a dream or whether the state has changed, it is immaterial to Sakshi. Whether the state has changed, it is immaterial. Whether there is waking, now here is a light. Light is illumining. Whether there is a hand or hand has gone, doesn't make any difference to the light. Light keeps illumining. If there is a hand, okay, hand gets illumined. If there is no hand, okay, that also gets illumined. If hand is replaced by book, okay, the book gets illumined. If the book is replaced by hand, that also gets illumined. The change of book into hand, hand into book, that also illumined by Sakshi. The change of book into hand, hand into book, both are illumined by the light. Similarly, the screen also, you can apply it to screen. When there is one film, screen is there, but screen remains untouched by this film. This film is replaced by another film. The screen continues to be screen, yet untouched by neither the previous film nor the later film. Screen remains untouched by previous film and later film. It remains touched neither by the previous film nor by the later film. Okay. Nor by the very change, transformation from one state to another state also doesn't affect the screen. From the standpoint of screen, it remains screen alone, just light alone. Screen means light. Screen means light. Light and screen both are same. In the example, for sake of example we are taking, the light is same. The screen is same, screen or light, because they form the basis to the both. Similarly, Sakshi is same. It doesn't know that the waking has changed into dream or the dream is changing into wake. Whether changes doesn't change, whether the waking dream exists or not, it is immaterial. I am what I am. Sakshi is what it is. Sakshi is illumining, is awareness, remains awareness. Okay. This Sakshitvam is missed by the tradition of Ramanujacharya. They say the individual subject, the Pramatru, Pramata, or Jnata, or the subject is Sakshi, he says. The whole word Sakshi is interpreted differently. So the Sakshi is in association with the mind and sense organ. This is what Ramanuja says. If Sakshi is associated with the mind and sense organ, Sakshi will be in touch with an external object. Then Sakshi becomes Jnata in relation with Gneyam. According to him, Sakshi is Jnata in relation with Gneyam. Then that is not a Sakshi according to Vedantins. Okay. This is not Sakshi. But for Ramanuja, Pramata is Sakshi. Because Pramata is in association with the mind and sense organ and connected with Gneyam, connected with the object of knowledge. Jnata is connected with Gneyam. Associated means Upadhi, connected means Vishaya. Jnata is connected with Vishaya. That means he is knowing the Vishaya, object. Association means Upadhi. Jnata is in association with the sense organs and mind. Then he becomes a Jnata, invariably connected with Gneyam. He can't call be Sakshi. But Ramanujacha Sampradaya says that this is Sakshi. Jnata is Sakshi. That is a mistake. That's why I elaborately discussed to show the difference between our Sakshi and Ramanuja's Sakshi. Ramanuja's Sakshi is Jnata only. Vedantin's Sakshi is independent of Jnata like a screen, is untouched, is unaffected. Whether the state is there or not is immaterial. All the states exist within the light or screen. Screen remains independent. Okay. Now, with this background, I have explained it. Now let us read the sentence. With this background, keeping this background, you can understand the better. Now, yadapyashankate kaischit, somebody say like this. Who is this somebody? Swamiji doesn't take the name. I am taking the name of Ramanuja, but in our traditionally we are not supposed to take the name of any philosopher. Just take his argument and analyze it. Don't take a name of a person. If you take a name of a person, people think we are criticizing, disrespecting person. Therefore, Swamiji doesn't take the name of a person. Even Shankaracharya also, most of the time he doesn't take the name of anybody, Sankhya or others. But once in a while he takes the name. So, our purpose is not to take the name and then criticize him. His views and ideas alone we take and try to understand how far it is right or wrong. Okay. Therefore, we need not have to take the name of any person. But for your clarity, who says this argument? Otherwise, without taking the name, if I simply say, you think that is also Vedanta. It is not Vedanta, it is one of the Upasana Sampradaya. Therefore, yadapyashankate kaischit, somebody. Kaischit means somebody. Without taking the name, Swamiji is telling somebody. Who is that somebody? We know it is Ramanujacharya. Okay, we leave it. Now, Sakshitvam nama sakshat jnatrutvam. What is Sakshi? Sakshat jnatrutvam. See, that Sakshi, he takes the grammatical term. He takes help of the Sanskrit Vyakarana, Sanskrit grammar. Sakshat jnatrutvam Sakshi. Nahi ajanatah sakshitvam asti, he says. Sakshi cannot be Sakshi without being connected to Gneyam. See how he talks. Sakshi must be connected to Gneyam. But our Sakshi is awareness. If there is an object, it gets illumined. If object is not there, immaterial. Presence and absence of object to be illumined is not necessary. There may be present, may not be present. Atma is of the nature of consciousness. This is enough to be Sakshi. For him, it's a totally different. He says, without an object knowing, there can't be Sakshi. Sakshi is Sakshat Jnanam. Sakshi directly knows. So Sakshi is connected with what is to be known, the Gneyam. He says Sakshi is directly connected with Gneyam. This is Jnata, not Sakshi, but he says that is Sakshi. Jnatrutvam is Sakshi. Ayyo Rama. He says Jnata is Sakshi. That is Ramanuja's Paksha, Ramanuja's view. Nahi ajanataha sakshitvam asti. Without knowing something, you can't be Sakshi. This is Ramanuja's Paksha. We'll continue. Still we are continuing Ramanuja. Reply we'll tell later. Okay? Jnataiva loka vedayo sakshi iti vyapadishyate. Ayyo Rama. See, ಬಾಯಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದರು. Openly he tells him. Jnata alone is called Sakshi. Abba. What a mistake. Jnata alone is Sakshi. ಇನ್ನೇನು ಬೇಕು? ವಾಟ್ ಮೋರ್ ಯು ನೀಡ್? నేరుగా జ్ఞాతనే సాక్షి అంటున్నాడు. రామానుజ సిద్ధాంతంలో జ్ఞాతను సాక్షి అంటే ఇంద్రియ మనస్సులనే ఉపాధితో కలిసి ఉంటాడు, విషయంతో సంబద్ధమై ఉంటాడు, అది సాక్షి అట. అంటే అది జ్ఞాత కదా, మరి అదే సాక్షి అంటాడు. మనం ఎంతసేపు చెప్పాము, ఇడియ అవస్థ, ద ఎంటైర్ వేకింగ్ స్టేట్, వన్ హూ ఇల్యూమిన్స్ ద ఎంటైర్ వేకింగ్ స్టేట్, complete waking state, complete dream state, and he remains untouched by both. మొత్తం జాగ్రత్త అవస్థను, మొత్తం స్వప్నావస్థను తెలుసుకుంటున్న చైతన్యాన్ని సాక్షి అన్నాం. ఆయన అవస్థలోని మనస్సుకు సంబంధం లేదు, అవస్థలోని అవస్థకు సంబంధం లేదు, అవస్థకు అతీతంగా తానుగా ఉండేది సాక్షి. ఇది మనం చెప్పే సాక్షి, వేదాంతులు చెప్పే సాక్షి. రామానుజులు మనస్సు సంబంధం ఉండాలంటాడు, విషయం తెలియాలంటాడు. అయ్యో రామ. ఓకే, సి జ్ఞాతైవ లోక వేదయో సాక్షి ఇది వ్యపదిశ్యతే. ఇట్ ఈస్ ద జ్ఞాత దట్ ఈస్ సెట్ టు బి సాక్షి బోత్ ఇన్ లోక అండ్ వేద. శాస్త్ర అకార్డింగ్ టు Ramanujacharya says Pramata is Sakshi, Jnata is Sakshi. Because in life also we think like that, and Shastra also he says Shastra says like that. Ayyo, I don't know, it's a mistake. Smarati cha Bhagavan Paninihi. For this he takes the help of Vyakarana, Samskrita grammar. Panini's grammar, we know it. Panini wrote Samskrita grammar called Ashtadhyayi is a book. So he's quoting Ashtadhyayi. Sakshat Drashtari Sanyayam, Panini Sutra, 5ನೇ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯ, in the 5th chapter, 2nd pada and 91 shloka, 91 sutra, 91 Panini Sutra. In this sutra he says, Smarati cha Bhagavan Paninihi Sakshat Drashtari Sanyayamiti. Sakshat Jnatari eva Sakshi Shabdam. And he says directly, Jnata alone is Sakshi, it directly says. Tasmat Sakshitvadevasya Jnatrutvam Setsyatiti Ahamartaha eva Atma Paramarthataha. Nodi. See what he says. Therefore, Jnata is Sakshi. Therefore, this Jnata is I notion. Ahamartha means Aham Pratyaya, Aham Vritti. And he says Aham Vritti is Sakshi, Aham Vritti is Atma. Now you understand the difference between Advaitins and Ramanuja Madhvas. For them, Aham Vritti is Sakshi, Aham Vritti is Atma. Vedantins say Aham Vritti is not Atma. The Vritti is Adhyasa, and the consciousness is Sakshi. The consciousness is independent of Vritti, Aham Vritti. Consciousness is independent of Aham Vritti. Therefore, because entire waking state is erased, Sakshi remains untouched. And Sakshi keeps illumining dream and waking simultaneously. Therefore, Sakshi is independent of Aham Vritti. They take Aham Vritti is Sakshi. Therefore, ultimate conclusion of Ramanujacharya is Aham Vritti is Sakshi. Therefore, Jnatrutvam Setsyati iti Ahamartaha eva Atma Paramarthataha. In Paramarthika Satya, Ramanujacharya says that Aham Vritti alone is Sakshi. ఇక నవ్వు స్వామీజీస్ రిప్లై, అతః తస్య అధ్యస్తత్వం నయుక్తమా. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು చివరి వాక్యం, అగైన్ అనదర్ వాక్య, దేర్ ఫోర్ సాక్షి ఈజ్ నాట్ అధ్యస్థ. సాక్షి ఈజ్ నాట్ అధ్యస్థ. సాక్షి ఈజ్ ఆల్వేస్ అహం వృత్తి. దేర్ ఫోర్ హీ ఈజ్ నాట్ అధ్యస్థ. దిస్ ఈజ్ రామానుజాస్ పక్ష. సో అద్వైతిన్స్ సే తదప్యత్ర సర్వసాక్షిణమిది సర్వగ్రహణేనైవ అపాస్తం భవతి. దిస్ ఈజ్ డిస్మిస్డ్. దిస్ ఈజ్ రాంగ్. డిస్మిస్డ్ మీన్స్ ఇట్ ఈజ్ రిజెక్టెడ్. ఇట్ ఈజ్ రిజెక్టెడ్. ఇట్ ఈజ్ డిస్మిస్డ్. Because Bhashyakara says Sarvasakshi. He knows everything including Aham Vritti. భాష్యకారులు చెప్పింది సాక్షి అంటే అహం వృత్తిని కూడా తెలుసుకుంటున్నాడు, అహం వృత్తితో కలిసి లేడు. అహం వృత్తిని వదిలి అహం వృత్తి కాకుండా ఉన్నది సాక్షి అని భాష్యకారుల సిద్ధాంతం. అహం వృత్తిని వదిలి బై గివింగ్ అప్ ద ఐ నోషన్, హీ ఈజ్ నాట్ ఇన్ అసోసియేషన్ విత్ ఐ నోషన్. అహం వృత్తితో కలిసి లేడు. అసోసియేషన్ అంటే కలిసి ఉండటం. అహం వృత్తి సాక్షి ఈజ్ నాట్ ఇన్ అసోసియేషన్ విత్ ఐ నోషన్, ఈజ్ ఇండిపెండెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఐ నోషన్, అన్టచ్డ్ బై ఐ నోషన్. Therefore, Sakshi is independent of I notion. He doesn't have an I notion. He doesn't have an individuality. Sakshi doesn't have location. సాక్షికి ఇక్కడ ఉన్నాను అనే థాట్ ఉండదు. థాట్ లేకపోతే సాక్షి. ఆలోచన లేని కేవల చైతన్యమును సాక్షి అన్నాం. సో థాట్ ఈజ్ నాట్ సాక్షి. థాట్ ఆర్ అహం వృత్తి ఈజ్ అనాత్మ ఓన్లీ. సాక్షి ఈజ్ ఇండిపెండెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్. ఓకే, దేర్ ఫోర్ సర్వసాక్షిణం. భాష్యకార సేస్ సర్వసాక్షి. హీ ఈజ్ అ సాక్షి ఆఫ్ అహం వృత్తి ఆల్సో. అహం వృత్తికి కూడా సాక్షి కనుక సర్వసాక్షిణం అన్నాడు, సర్వసాక్షి అని అన్నాడు. ఈ ఒక్క మాటతో తేలిపోయింది. దిస్ సర్వసాక్షిణం మీన్స్ హీ ఈజ్ ఎ సాక్షి ఆఫ్ అహం వృత్తి ఆల్సో. సో సర్వసాక్షిణం ఇది సర్వగ్రహణేనైవ అపాస్తం భవతి. యువర్ ఐడియా గెట్స్ డిస్మిస్డ్. మీ పక్షము సర్వసాక్షిణం అనే మాటతోనే కొట్టివేయబడింది. సో యువర్ ఐడియా ఆఫ్ జ్ఞాతృత్వం ఆర్ అహం వృత్తి ఈజ్ డిస్మిస్డ్ బై భాష్యకారాస్ వర్డ్ సర్వసాక్షి. ఓకే, జ్ఞాతురపి సాక్షత్వాత్ సర్వసాక్షిత్వ అనుపపత్తే. బికాస్ జ్ఞాత ఈజ్ ఆల్సో నోన్ టు సాక్షి. దిస్ ఈజ్ ఇంపార్టెంట్. జ్ఞాత ఈజ్ నోన్ టు సాక్షి. దట్ మీన్స్ ఇన్ వేకింగ్ స్టేట్ యు ఆర్ ఎ జ్ఞాత ఆఫ్ ద వేకింగ్ వరల్డ్. Therefore, the entire waking state along with the jnata means aham vritti, along with the aham vritti, entire waking state is experienced, is known in the consciousness, in the sakshi, and the entire waking state is erased. Sakshi remains untouched. Idu satyam. Idu Vedantigala drishti. So yathahur vartikakara. For this vartikakara says, time is up, I'll take 2 minutes and finish it. Okay, kvachit pramatrut, kvachit pramatruvit sakshi, kvachit pratyayavit parah, kvachit bhashyartha vichatma tatkartrutvan nishidhyate iti. Sakshi knows the pramatru. Sakshi knows the pramata. Sakshi knows the pratyaya. Sakshi knows the entire waking state. Therefore, Sakshi is not in association with any vritti. Sakshi is vritti rahita. Sakshi is not yava vritti. Sakshi is not any vritti. సాక్షి అంటే ఏ వృత్తి కాదు, అహం వృత్తి కాదు, ఇదం వృత్తి కాదు. అన్ని వృత్తులకు సంబంధం లేకుండా ఏ వృత్తిలోనూ కలవకుండా ఉండేటువంటి చైతన్యమును సాక్షి అన్నాం. సాక్షి ఈజ్ నాట్ ఇన్ అసోసియేషన్ విత్ ఎనీ వృత్తి. ఓకే, సాక్షి ఈజ్ నాట్ ఇన్ అసోసియేషన్ విత్ ఎనీ వృత్తి. ఏ వృత్తిలోనూ కలవకుండా ఉంటున్న చైతన్యాన్ని సాక్షి అన్నాం. అంటే ఏ ఆకారం లేకుండా ఉండేటువంటి చైతన్యం. ఇంత స్పష్టంగా చెప్పినా మరి అర్థం కాకుండా పోయింది పాపం వాళ్ళకు. క్వచిత్ ప్రమాతృవిత్ సాక్షి క్వచిత్ ప్రత్యయవిత్ పరః. సాక్షి నోస్ ప్రత్యయ, విట్నెసెస్ ప్రమాతృ, క్వచిత్ బాహ్యార్థ విచ్చాత్మ అండ్ విట్నెసెస్ ఎక్స్టర్నల్ వరల్డ్. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ప్రమాతృ, ప్రత్యయ అండ్ విషయ. దట్ మీన్స్ సాక్షి ఈజ్ ఎ సాక్షి ఆఫ్ ప్రమాత and pramana and prameya. Sakshi witnesses all the three in one stroke. ఒకే ప్రయత్నంతో మూడింటిని తెలుసుకునేది సాక్షి. ప్రమాతృ అంటే అహం ప్రత్యయం తెలుసు, ప్రమాణ ప్రత్యయం తెలుసు, ప్రమేయం తెలుసు. మూడింటిని సాక్షి ఒకటే తెలుసుకుంటుంది కాదా. క్వచిత్ ప్రమాతృ ఆల్సో ఇట్ నోస్. ప్రత్యయ ಅಂದರೆ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಯ. ದೆನ್ ಭಾಷ್ಯಾರ್ಥ ಆತ್ಮ ತತ್ಕರ್ತೃತ್ವ ನಿಷಿಧ್ಯತೆ. ಆತ್ಮ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎ ಕರ್ತ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಆತ್ಮ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎ ಜ್ಞಾತ. ಜ್ಞಾತ ಜ್ಞಾನಂ ಜ್ಞೇಯಂ ಆಲ್ ದ ತ್ರೀ ಆರ್ ಅಧ್ಯಸ್ಥ ಅಪಾನ್ ದ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ. ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ is untouched by this triputi. Entire waking state ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ knows. Okay, now iti. Okay, now shrutischa sakshinah kartrutvarahitamev chinmatra rupatam praha. Shruti also says sakshi is not involved with any thought, any aham buddhi or any thought. Sakshi is purely kartrutva-rahitam. Kartrutva means subject. Okay. Sakshi is not a subject. Sakshi is free from Jnatrutvam. Okay, so Sakshi Cheta Kevalo Nirgunascha. I think we will conclude this topic. Salpa time aitu. Even then I'll take 2 minutes and finish it, because it will go on, going on and on and on. So that we'll proceed with the next topic in the next class. Okay, I'll just read 2 sentences. Tasmat sakshat drashtariti pratyaya smaranam anyathaiva vyakhyaya. That sakshat drashtari which you have quoted from Panini, it has to be interpreted differently. Sakshat means without mind. He says sakshat means with mind. We say sakshat means without mind. Okay, ataha savita prakashate ityakartari api kartru pratyaya gochara darshanaditi drashtavyam. This I'll just read quickly and little explain in the next class, because there is some good point. When the sun illumines, there is no kartrutvam on the part of sun. Just similarly, when Sakshi illumines the entire waking state, Sakshi is not aware of the state. He remains purely consciousness. Okay. Ataha kartru pratyaya darshana matrad ahamarthata iti kudarshaname tat. Therefore, calling Jnatrutvam as Sakshi is a wrong Siddhanta. It is not acceptable. Tadevam sarva sakshini iti visheshameva atmani sarva vishesha samparkam varayati iti sarvam shiva. Sarva sakshini, this one word explains everything. Why unnecessarily confusing? Entire state, all pramata, all vrittis, all thing Sakshi knows. Means Sakshi is not association with any thought. Sakshi is not in association with any thought. He remains beyond thought. He witnesses all thoughts. He is not disturbed by thoughts. He is not touched by the thoughts. He is independent of the thought. This is Sakshi. So we have concluded this 7th section. I'll tell you 8th, 9th. Only 2 chapters are remaining. Okay. With these 2 chapters we will conclude Sugama. One is a small chapter. I think it may take a few classes. And another is 8th and 9th chapters. Last 2 chapters are remaining. We will continue. Now the Bhashyakara is coming to the conclusion of Adhyasa Bhashya. Okay. 2 small paragraphs remain. No. One is a paragraph, another is 1 sentence only, not even paragraph. 1 sentence, 2 sentences, that's all. 1 sentence is 1 chapter, 2 sentences another chapter. This we shall deal with next class. But that portion which we have skipped, When I leisurely held this, what is the topic? Samanya Vishesha Bhava in Adhyasa. Adhisthana and Adhyasta have or Samanya Vishesha Bhava. This topic is a whole thing wrong. We'll discuss later. Okay? Adhyasa Vichara Upasamhara Bhashyam. Now Adhyasa Vichara is conclusion. The very Adhyasa topic is coming to conclusion. Bhashyakara says, Evamayam manadirananto naisargiko adhyaso mithya pratyaya rupaha kartrutva bhoktrutva pravartakaha sarvaloka pratyakshaha. This is going to discuss. We'll say it in the later. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tatsat.